Vicky shot up. Straightening her back and aiming at the door, she held the gun parallel to the bed.
Darkness,
she reminded herself.
The closet was always dark.
This room, thank God, was well lit. Bad memories always come the first night Vicky sleeps in a new place. Like that guest suite in Phoenix, after surviving the 60-mile trip from Superior, Arizona. Desperate and clutching a baby in her arms, Vicky pinned all her hopes on an offer that had been made in secret.
That's my house.
The caseworker had whispered, handing Vicky the address when no one was looking.
Doors open, day or night.
Site visits and field trips to Phoenix had been part of their relationship for years, and now that Vicky was a lanky teenager, the kind woman from the state suspected the danger he posed. She saved Vicky's life, but 8 years later, if the room was unfamiliar, it all came back when Vicky reached the precipice of sleep. She'd be locked in that closet once again, while he beat her mother to death on the other side of the door. Vicky glanced at the clock. It was 5 a.m., a mere 3 hours past the point at which she'd finally overcome that fear. Still holding the gun, she wiped a sheen of sweat from her face. This was a terrible start to her first day at work. Sleep had also been scarce throughout college. From the time she put Danny to bed until the wee hours of the morning, Vicky poured everything into her studies. It was a bad situation that she flipped upside down by becoming the youngest student in ASU's history to earn a PhD in criminal psychology. To succeed as an analyst, though, she was going to have to figure out a way to get more sleep. The relocation specialist thought it was strange that out of all the places in Summerlin, Vicky chose an apartment downtown.
"This isn't New York or Chicago,"
he'd said.
"Just a sleepy suburb in Nevada."
Like most people, Justin took his safety for granted, but Vicky knew the value of the 24-hour illumination produced by shops and street lamps.
Pull yourself together,
she thought, taking stock in the fact that her belly was full, that Danny was safe, and in the knowledge that, if he was still alive, they were thousands of miles away. There was a gun mount on the bottom of the night table. Vicky reached between the wood surface and the bed, turned the Glock upside down, and released the handle as the magnetic pull engaged. She then placed bare feet onto the floor and stumbled like a somnambulist into the master ensuite. The space between the sink and the ceiling was a giant mirror. As Vicky entered the room, a gorgeous Mexican woman appeared in the glass. Growing up, she doubted the things her mother said about her father. The bastard was gone by the time Vicky was born, not the sort of thing a good man would do. But staring in the mirror, she had to admit, he must have been beautiful. It was the only explanation for her looks. Cecilia Morales' hair was thick but frizzy. In contrast, Vicky's sharp, elegant face was framed by long, loopy curls.
You are so handsome,
Celia would say, and to her credit, their dilapidated apartment had a storage room full of dapper little suits for her son, Victor. Victoria, however, had known from the beginning that she really wasn't a boy. Cecilia bought a lot of clothes, but in every other way, she was a neglectful mother. Outside of the house, Vicky walked the streets, went to school, and made friends as a girl. People in their poor little town thought she was the prettiest thing they'd ever seen. Just before graduating high school, though, the benefit of being a boy at home became apparent when Cecilia brought a killer into their lives. To that deadbeat psychopath, Victor was a threat, while Vicky surely would have been another piece of meat. Instead of lust, she received nothing but contempt from the man terrorizing her home. Every night, before reaching the point of being drunk and slurring,
"Come here, Cece, you disgusting little bitch,"
he created some infraction, some violation of a rule. That triggered the punishment of being locked in the closet. If Vicky protested, her mother would only say,
Victor, listen to your father.
9 months later, Daniel Morales was the result. A baby brother who became Vicky's companion whenever she was locked in the dark. With Danny wrapped in her arms, Vicky shielded his ears from the sounds of fists striking flesh, from their mother's muffled tears, from her abuser's sickening grunts. Standing in the hall, fully dressed, Vicky felt an onslaught of relief. They were in a new apartment. She had a new job, and Danny was starting school that day. Statan Elementary was the pride of Summerlin, at least according to the sign they'd passed earlier that week. Vicky was excited even though she had no way of knowing what to expect. No matter what, it had to be a better school than the one she attended in Arizona. She pressed her ear to the door. Having been a baby during the worst of it, Danny never had any trouble getting sleep. If anything, the challenge was waking him up. Like Vicky's battle with the night, Danny needed to conquer the morning.
If that boy is still in bed,
she thought. Ready to shout, she gripped the handle and closed her eyes. But instead of lying prone under the covers, Danny's small body sat on the mattress, fumbling with the laces of his shoes. Seeing his glossy eyes, Vicky ran to the bed and wrapped her arms around his shoulders. She kissed him on the head and said,
"What do you know?"
Danny let go of the strings and looked up.
"I can do anything,
He forced a smile.
as long as I take my time."
She drew him into her arms, no longer worried about being late. Nothing was going to stop her from enrolling this beautiful child. When they pulled up to the curb, the entire world became alive with youthful energy. Children chased each other across the lawn as Vicky and Danny approached the building. The guard at the door was polite, while in the act of directing her to the office, but she felt his stare like a laser on her butt as her heels clicked against the vinyl tile of the hall. The room was empty, except for 3 women sitting behind the counter. Vicky stood next to Danny for a minute, but no one looked up. There was no bell, so she coughed. A heavy-set woman in her 40s raised her chin and approached.
"May I help you?"
Vicky placed her hand on Danny's head.
I have an appointment to enroll him. I submitted the application online.
"Daniel Morales?"
The woman said.
Yes!
Vicky's reply was bright, even as she wondered why they had to wait if this woman knew they were coming.
"The birth certificate wasn't attached.
The woman said.
State law doesn't allow us to enroll without that."
Not a problem.
Vicky said, even though she was certain the digital copy had been uploaded. She reached into her purse, removed the original, and shoved it forward.
I'm sorry, what was your name?
Vicky asked.
"Patty."
The woman mumbled as she examined the document.
Nice to meet you, Patty. I'm Victoria, but everyone calls me Vicky.
Patty shook the paper in the air.
"This says the mother's name is Cecilia."
Vicky rubbed Danny's back. In his 9 years on Earth, he hadn't heard that name many times. Vicky was the closest thing to a mother he'd ever known. She thought back to a question a woman in Danny's nursery had asked.
"What does he use? Mom, mother, or your first name?"
V.
Vicky had said simply, then raised her chin.
He always calls me V.
As Danny looked up at her, Vicky realized he was probably wondering who this strange woman was talking about. Her cheeks burned with anger. Patty was being callous. She was being unnecessarily mean. Vicky had probably never broached the subject of their mother, out of relief that Danny had never known poor, pathetic Cecilia Morales. They were going to have to talk, but right now, Vicky had to deal with this wicked bitch. Reaching into her purse again, Vicky removed another slip of paper, then swallowed and said in a confident but low voice,
I'm his guardian.
Patty held the new document in front of her face, as the second woman in the room rose from her seat and approached the counter. With a smile that didn't reach her eyes, she chirped, "Where do you live, sweetie?" The high-pitched tone made it sound like an accusation, and to Vicky's ears, it was a brazen violation of the law.
What difference does that make?
She thought.
Sweetie.
Choosing her words carefully, Vicky said,
That was part of the application. This was the school that came up. I assume that was based on my address?
From behind the desk, the third woman called out.
Nouveau on Main?
With the apartment complex announced, Patty and the second woman shared a knowing look, which the third woman apparently hadn't noticed.
Where the skating rink was?
She added by way of clarification.
Affordable housing.
Patty mumbled. Built for transients, the second woman whispered. To complete the chorus, the third woman shouted,
We're gonna have to see Elise.
The relocation check hadn't arrived until 2 days ago, which is why she and Danny had only been in the apartment for one night. With the click of a button, Vicky transferred thousands of dollars from her bank account to the realty company that managed the building. She couldn't fathom all this talk about transients and affordable housing. They were only allowed to move in after Vicky forked over a security deposit, plus the first and last months of rent.
What the fuck is affordable about that?
Vicky wondered. Sweetie, the second woman said, this school is for regular kids, Summerlin kids. You people working in those shops downtown have to send your... She leveled a side-eyed glance at Danny. Children, somewhere else.
You people.
Shortly after arriving in Phoenix, Vicky realized that the two-word pejorative was code for one word, Mexican. Having grown up with so many problems, the nationality of her descendants meant nothing to Vicky until she was in college. That's also when the years of having a caseworker started to make sense. The woman from the state hadn't only been kind. She was doing her job as part of a program intended for at-risk Mexican youth. Vicky was a single mum, but Danny certainly wasn't at risk. Things may have been different, as these women well knew if Vicky was limited by the wages earned by the cashiers working in the stores near her apartment building. On his enrollment application, she'd left her occupation blank. It wasn't required, and Vicky didn't think it mattered. What difference would it make if she were a cashier or an office worker like these people? Narrowing her eyes, Vicky levelled a stare upon the second woman.
Where do you live?
She asked.
Sweetie.
From behind her desk, the third woman shouted.
That ain't none of your business.
Spiking the counter with her index finger, Vicky leaned forward.
We live here,
She said.
You have the lease. I uploaded it last night.
Like a seal, the third woman barked.
And I'm saying we never got it.
This was bullshit. The site allowed Vicky to view each document after their upload by way of confirmation. It was the same process as when she applied to the Department of Homeland Security. Unlike the job application, on Danny's enrollment form, Vicky declined to answer the gender pronouns. She was the only mother Danny had ever known. Nothing else mattered.
What is the relevance of this?
Vicky spat. Grinning like a Cheshire cat, the second woman folded her arms and nodded toward the woman behind the desk. As she said, we never got it. In a mocking movement, she leaned forward. We're going to have to see Elise. Then, with an air of triumph, Patty slid the birth certificate and guardian document back toward Vicky. The third woman rose from her desk and joined the other two. The trio became a gate that was determined to keep Danny out of the school. Vicky's face went red. She'd survived a killer, travelled 3 days across Arizona as a teenager, earned a PhD, and landed a federal job. She'd come too far to be stymied by this. Upon selecting the gender pronouns on her application to the Department of Homeland Security, Vicky was informed that she was eligible for specialised assistance through an advocacy program managed by a contractor called Level Up. Like the word Mexican, the acronym LGBTQIA+ didn't mean anything when the program's title appeared on the screen. But now, Vicky was thankful she'd selected yes. She took out her phone, launched video call, and chose a number she'd been using all week.
Hey,
The relocation specialist said with a smile.
how can I?
Justin,
Vicky interrupted.
I'm at Danny's school. I need you to talk to these women.
With Justin's pronouns being they, them, his smile vanished, and a flash of understanding lit his eyes. He straightened his back.
Certainly.
When she turned the phone around, Justin's voice took on a tone that sent a chill through Vicky's spine.
My name is Justin Ho.
He said,
I'm an advocate at Level Up, calling on behalf of the Department of Homeland Security. With whom do I have the pleasure of speaking?